Oh my god. I'm so tired. It's a very, very weary Wednesday. Um, anyway, yesterday was anime night. Did the Summer Hikaru die stop at like that many episodes or something? Like, what? I'm so confused. Hang on, I'm gonna search. The Summer Hikaru died. How many episodes? Okay, it's supposed to be 12 episodes. But I guess it just stopped all of a sudden and then it'll pick up again in. Wait, it is September. I'm so confused. What the fuck? Um. Okay. It's listed for 12 episodes. So why can't I find episode 9? Okay. Oh, well, maybe it's just a little late. All right. You know what? I could also just check Netflix. I don't know what's wrong with me. These things are. I'm so tired. Hang on. Seriously though. Net. Why am I searching for Netflix on Netflix? The summer. Oh, whoops. Okay, hang on. Or maybe it died or something. Just read that.
일물이 내가 돌아왔다.
All right, good. Anyway, it's too bad we don't have just eternal water hose. Oh my god. Um, but I wonder if I should like rename stuff, right? Because we're now at a point where like they haven't. I realized like after watching Min's video that like this is not Nodcry isn't being called version 6.0, but version Luna 1. So I think I need to change how I label the videos. Um, because you know, so I think I'll do that, and I'll rename and relabel everything properly as it comes, or I'll just see how everyone else labels their things. Because you know, honestly, I need the community consensus more than I care that much about the official naming, if only because I have to exist within the community. Anyway, my laundry is being done. Okay, there's the game. Is there an echo? Yes, there is. Ah! I can't find Anefa at the thing, and now I wonder if they just mean that Anefa is at I don't know why it's here of all places. My laundry's done already? Okay. That was fast. Oh yeah, the Themis video is out tomorrow. Oh, I really do need to edit. Okay. This is gonna be a short stream. 2 hours. Then I gotta edit the Zane birthday
물은
card
아주
video.
다양한 맛이 있습니다. 몬드의 물은 청량하고 리월의 물은 뒷맛이 오래가며 이나즈마의 물은 깊고 그윽한 맛이 있습니다. 수메르의 물은 풍부한 맛이 있지만 자세히 음미해야 알 수 있죠.
Okay. Let's rename this Genshin Impact version Luna 1 special program. There we go. And I'll just retitle the thing. Alright, laundry, come on. Laundry. I'm gonna keep repeating it until I remember to go and get it. But first, we gotta do this. Laundry, laundry, laundry. Like, I don't even know why I deploy this. I don't actually need to do this, right? Like, I have a lot of these. I think. Wait, where do we see them? Eh? What is this for? Wait, wait, wait. There's a weapon that isn't refined that I should be refining. Hang on. Is it this? It looks like it's for a bow. What bow did we get recently? See, this is why I don't know. Alley Hunter's a gotcha bow. What bow did we get recently? What weapon did we get recently? I refined this one. I don't think that's even... Is that an event weapon? I don't know. Wait, wait, wait. I never used that refinement material, so is it this? Is this a new weapon? It is probably a new weapon, but it's not the weapon. Is it this one? It is! Okay, okay. Oh my god. I didn't even bother to raise it. HP. What is this weapon for? Who uses that? Oh, whatever. I don't care. It's Wednesday, so somebody's books are available. I think Dahlia. Speaking of Dahlia, I have decided to raise him to level 90 after reading more about him. So we should raise him. I don't even care if I don't need him. I don't even care if he's shit. He is a little troll and I love him. Okay, hang on. Laundry.
멜리지는 폰타인의 자랑이자 매우 아름다운 생물입니다. 부디 그들을 해치지 말고 친하게 지내주세요. 전 제 일의 가치와 폰타인 대중들이 한 일의 의미를 잘 압니다. 앞으로도 전 제 일에 자부심을 갖고 살아갈 겁니다.
Okay, I'm back. Right. I think this is probably a bad idea, sending a Hydro team to this domain. What's recommended in here? Fire. Okay. This is probably overkill, but I missed Diluc, so why not? I've also, what's the word? I've ascended Bennett because he has a cute outfit now, so I think I might ascend Xiangling too. I do like her a lot. And I use her so much. Oh, I ascended him, but he's still dead. Oh, you know what?
선인의 왕님을 맞이하라.
화염이여 불살라라. 찌찌.
바람아 퍼져라.
Here, we can't die. We've got 3 healers on this team. I don't need Hydro right now.
이곳에서 청산한다.
그대에게 바람아.
He's so pretty. Oh, my book luck is always so good. That's the only place I have good luck in is like book domains.
짜잔! 불타올라라! 바람아 퍼져라. 총 공격을 시작. 바람에 춤추는 날개로다.
화염이여 불살라라.
바람아 퍼져라. 빛이여. 이깟 상처 따위.
Good morning, Cappy. What's up? How's your day going? So today, Love in Deep Space was on the agenda, but I don't think I'm doing it because I'm way too tired. Like today is a very weary Wednesday.
불타올라라. 퍼져라. 내가 모두 선인의 왕님을 맞이하라. 반짝이는 순간.
화염이여 불살라라.
Like I definitely think I am a workaholic. So like our new boss is here, and I was a little worried about it, but yeah, as I like her, I think so far. I don't know, most people are not like bad people. They're not that disappointing, and I figured my boss would hire somebody decent to take over a position as important as hers. But like I know now that I really am a workaholic because I have been so busy just these past 2 days, right? Because lots of stuff for her to learn and check out and things that she's asking me to do. And I'm actually like having a really good time. Like I'm exhausted, right? I'm really tired. But admittedly, it feels really good to be this productive, you know? No major complaints. You've been at work since 6:20. Jeez, Cappy, you're really getting in those hours, huh? Maybe you're a workaholic too. So what are the books again? Jesus. Why is my attention span so? Well, I know why. It's because I'm exhausted. Does Eula give you more on books? She does. Okay. So I'm gonna raise Bennett to 90. He's already ascended, actually. And I'm gonna raise Dahlia, even though do not need to raise Dahlia. But it's just... I think what we'll do today, because I'm too tired to want to do anything in this game, is, we'll read through stories, because I haven't been doing that in a while, right? You knocked out 2 cars. Ooh, nice, nice. I can do this. Focus a little bit more. You wanted the peace and quiet before everyone else showed up. I like that too. I actually have been getting better about showing up a little earlier than before, but to be honest, like I'm still not like that great at it, and it's actually not that quiet because my coworkers are mostly decent right now, and a lot of them show up early so that they can get a head start on things. They don't do the let's just show up like, you know, just on time thing anymore. So that's good.
불타올라라. 나의 전 바람아. 총 공격을 시작. 내 이름으로 노래하렴. 구름이 돌아왔노라.
화염이여 불살라라.
Dang. Hello, Calamity. Oh, especially when it comes to this one Spanish-speaking coworker. Yeah, is it the one that you've talked about? Yeah, that one is annoying, I'm sure. So I was like thinking about like kind of the issue, right? With or not like intentionally thinking about your coworker. It's more that he came to mind, right? Because I was watching a Josh Johnson like special, and he was talking about how like he's got like these friends who are like very very liberal, and he's not like quite that liberal, but like they were talking about how like they have what's the word, like they talk in like about certain concepts in a way where like it makes sense academically, but it doesn't like necessarily like fit in like in like the real world or whatever, kind of. Anyway, the point is not even that. The point is that like the example he used was how his friend was explaining to him that like black people can't be racist because like a racist is systemic, and systemically black people do not racism is systemic, and systemically black people don't have enough power that like, you know, their I guess like prejudices could be considered like racist, which that's an oversimplification. There's a whole thing about that, but anyway, then he was arguing that like no, like when we talk about racism, we are talking about like prejudice that is like, you know, unwarranted, assumptions that are unwarranted, and ultimately like anyone can do that, right? It's not just about like power, and also he said if like yeah, on like a general level, yeah, black people don't have power, but there are black people in power, and they could, you know, treat people badly, whatever, like on the individual level and things like that, right? And then I was thinking about how like your coworker came to mind, because I feel like the reason the way that your coworker talked upset you and us, like because when we were listening to what you said about what he said, it bothered us, right? Was I think because like ultimately Josh Austin pointed out, like if you only use the general population's like suffering as an excuse for your own poor treatment of other people, then that's not right. You have to take accountability for, you know, the way that you like disregard other people or your personal prejudices and things like that. And I think, yeah, I think that's ultimately, what was I doing? I think that's ultimately the issue, right? Is like your coworker in the way that he talks about this stuff seems to be using it more as an excuse. And maybe we talked about this already and I'm just rehashing about it, like for how he treats other people, rather than actually like taking a moment to consider whether like his individual actions and poor treatment of others is warranted. But yeah. That was way too much for how tired I am right now, to be honest. Like, that was too much thinking for how tired I am. He's trying to get you demoted. Why? To take your position? Oh no, now it's personal, you know? That's not good. Why? What a jerk. Yeah, now it's personal. That's bad. Ooh, I only get lucky with books. You know, like my luck is like only with like getting books. It's pretty shitty everywhere else, you know? I just need a few flowers, but I don't want to go raid someone's world. I guess I'll just wait till tomorrow. So I'm working on ascending Dahlia. I think today, because I'm tired and I don't want to do shit, is we're gonna look at otherwise, if I want to do something, I'm just gonna be building characters, and I don't think I want to waste my resources with Notcry coming. I should stop, even though I've already raised everybody from here is like up ascended to 80 out of 90 or is level 90. And then Shanhe should be moved up there too. I'm thinking of raising not only Shanhe, but also Yunjin. So I'm gonna raise Yunjin, I think. Like, I'm basically trying to pick out the characters I love, you know? Fremine. Shanhe, Fremine, Chongyun. Maybe Kea. Even if I don't use them, because I love them. And I was thinking maybe Yao Yao. I like Yao Yao. So, yeah. I won't remember any of this, so we'll see if my list changes later. But I've already worked on I've already gathered materials for him, right? We just need this. Actually, let me see if we can make the pyro stuff now. Or hydro stuff now. I think I needed one more, so... Oh, wow, I have a lot. Okay. Alright. There you go. So yeah, I think that's enough for later. And then... So let's read today. Let's read character stories and listen to voice lines today, because it's been a while, you know? So who wants to make more money? Okay, he's the mechanic on the body side of the shop. He wants to make more money. The best way for him is to do body work. Most body techs here can't do mechanical work. Ah. Saying blacks don't have power like races and you make fun of other people who's not your race, I guess. I don't... Yeah. I think, like... Let's not have that discussion right now, just because, like, I'm really too tired to. Because... And also, it's like particularly an academic type of discussion about power and race. But the point was just like, oh, I thought about Cappy's coworker and how I think that he kind of misapplies or applies, I guess, like certain understandings about like race relations and systemic racism in order not to necessarily benefit others, but like or to speak out against injustice, but just for his own personal benefit, right? Annyeong. Who did you win on August 16th? Hello, Theo. What's up? How are you? Welcome to the stream. We are currently gonna be looking at character voice lines and stuff for characters that I haven't looked at enough. So we're gonna look at some new characters, basically characters I haven't had a chance to read yet. Anyway, I hope you're well. Who did you win on August 16th? Last week you needed a tire removed from the rim, but you couldn't find him, so you just said fuck it and did it yourself. Oh, when you came back, he saw you done something he thought only he could do. Oh, is he feeling like do you think he's feeling threatened? Okay. You can also see who has new voice lines, but I don't know. I'm kind of lazy. Let's just look at characters first. Let's look at Dahlia first because I love Dahlia. I wanted to look at Skirk as well, So we'll go to Skirk after, but yeah. So, I think he's hilarious. I think he's so funny. Not what we were expecting, but I think that's even better. Um, in the city blessed by freedom, people choose to follow many different paths, from those who seek peace and leisure to those who yearn for the thrill of adventure. As for Dahlia, okay, hang on. Should we record these to post? Yeah, let's do it. Okay, let's look at Dahlia's character details and see what kind of a troll he is. In this city blessed by freedom, people choose to follow many different paths, from those who seek peace and leisure to those who yearn for the thrill of adventure. As for Dahlia, well, he's the kind of person whose morning prayers are filled with entreaties for trouble to come his way. Deacon of the Church of Favonius and the leader of the church's choir, he is a man blessed by the gods who is said to hear the will of the divine. When the people face hardships and seek guidance from on high, it is Dahlia who leads their morning prayers, beseeching Barbados for answers on their behalf. More often than not, his appeals do not go unanswered. Many a curious mind has speculated as to why Dahlia was blessed with such divine favor. Some say it's due to his noble character and willingness to help those in need. Others claim it's because of his singing, a sound as sweet and intoxicating as dandelion wine. Oh, I hope we get to hear him sing. While a third theory postulates that he has perfected some esoteric form of divination that allows him to predict the future. If anyone were inclined to ask Dahlia himself, he would wink and flash a mischievous grin. Perhaps it's because I enjoy meddling in others' affairs that the gods allow me to help them with their troubles. Not gonna lie, my thought was, perhaps it's because he's good at blowies. I mean, what? I'm sorry, guys. It's just, we already know that he gets on his knees for Venti, so make of that what you will. The second he said he couldn't keep a straight face because you both knew there was no money in the tire work, then your manager came to you saying that your coworker went to him and said you wanted to do the... Okay. Oh, he tried to get you to do tire work, but you both know there's no money in tire work. I see. Yeah, that's crafty. Character story 1. Before becoming a deacon, Dahlia had long pursued a life of excitement and delight. Like a keen-nosed detective, he would scour the streets of Mondstadt and the surrounding countryside, sniffing out the latest news. Wherever there was a thorny issue to be solved or someone in distress, he was always among the first to know and would rush to the scene to get involved. When people would praise his kind-heartedness, he would smile at their warm words. Unbeknownst to them, he was mostly just thrilled to be in the thick of it. Sorry, in the thick of the action. And people's problems getting solved was merely a happy coincidence. However, Mondstadt was enjoying a long period of peace, and the everyday troubles of its citizens were insufficient to satisfy Dahlia's appetite for excitement. Curbside quarrels, drinking debts, and absconded animals were far too nondescript for his taste. And whenever something truly thrilling would arise, the elite knights of Favonius were always on hand to swiftly restore mundane order. Thus, after returning his 19th lost cat and clearing his 30th slime-induced key road blockage of the year, it occurred to Dahlia that he needed to inject some real turbulence into his life. When he felt the winds begin to blow, he picked a single dandelion and held it in the palm of his hand, praying to Barbados that something new and exciting might happen to him. The dandelion seeds spiraled into the air and were carried on the wind to the plaza before the great church of Favonius, coming to rest on the outstretched fingers of the animal archon statue. In the plaza, a bard was playing a chalice. A child was feeding the pigeons, and the denizens of Mondstadt were praying before the archon statue, yet Dahlia could sense something was off amid this idyllic scene. That keen nose of his had detected the slightest whiff of trouble. There were two sisters nearby, talking in hushed and solemn voices. Dahlia sidled up beside them and managed to just about catch the words missing and urgent. In line with his standard approach to meddling, he politely approached the two sisters and inquired if they needed his help. They glanced at each other uncertainly, not sure whether they should involve a layperson in their current quandary. Dahlia patted his chest reassuringly, announcing himself as a devout believer in the church, and stated that there would be no greater honor than to help. Moved by his impassioned words, the sisters ultimately explained the situation. One of their fellow sisters had been missing for several days, leaving the work she had been tasked with undone. And so it was that Dahlia came to undertake the sisters' work for the benefit of the people of Mondstadt. Okay. Okay. this surely has to lead to something in character story too, right? Here we are. Yes. I was like, I knew it. Okay, I was like, I bet this has to do with Rosaria. I see her name. The work the sisters had tasked him with consisted of replying to letters from the congregation in the name of the church. The clergy would usually take it in turns to complete this task, but though it was now Sister Rosaria's turn, she had left the city on an investigation and had not been heard from in days. As such, the letters were piling up. Dahlia took a deep breath and set about opening letters as though he were unwrapping candy. Like a snowdrift in a blizzard, the letters piled high around him. All the troubles that people felt unable to share with their neighbors and friends were laid bare before him on white paper snowflakes. Dahlia read each one carefully. Fortunately, most of these troubles were well within his power to solve. A young maid confessed that she had fallen for someone beyond her reach and was uncertain whether to pursue things further. Dahlia wrote in his reply, "The most beautiful emotions are often those we leave obscured, yet a brave decision can sometimes bring joyful rewards. Both are fine choices, so perhaps you should let your heart decide." A merchant complained that their business was going nowhere and they could not give their family the life they deserved. Dahlia wrote in his reply, "A modest return is always better than a loss. Remain patient and be on the lookout for new opportunities. Perhaps in time your fortunes will change." A scholar questioned the history of Old Bonstadt. Dahlia cited records from authoritative texts and gently reminded the scholar that perhaps only Barbados himself could help one learn the truth of the past. On the morning of the third day, Dahlia was still furiously scribbling at his desk when his door was gently pushed ajar to admit a tired-looking sister. There were stains on her clothes that might have been mud, but could well have been blood. "You must be the sister who's been missing these past few days. It looks like the work you've been doing was far from easy." "Thank you for your help, stranger." "Victoria appreciates your kindness. She's hoping to persuade you to stay here and work with us." Rosaria began relaying the things she'd heard upon her return to the church. As far as Dahlia was concerned, helping the church and working for the church were two completely different things. The latter involved far more than simply assisting the congregation in solving their problems. It required spending a significant amount of time on monotonous prayer and ceremony. For Dahlia, dull repetition was the highest enemy of all. He shot up from his chair, hurriedly declaring, "I seek no payment, but the joy of helping others. Anyway, now that you're back, my work here is done." Rosaria made no move to stop him from leaving. She simply looked on as he fled the scene like a sudden gust of wind. Upon reading through the pile of responses left sitting on her desk, she instantly regretted allowing him to leave without first learning his address. She made a note to find out where he lived before the next time she was tasked with penning replies to the people's letters. I love this. This is so funny. Oh, man. You forgot Dahlia was in the game. Dude, I kind of did too. It's been a while since I've read character stories, and I forgot how fun it is to sit and read through their character stories. We get such like interesting lore too. So we're learning about how Dahlia joined the church. But how are you doing, Shiny? I hope you're well. Okay, let's see. Let's continue with Cappy's story. You told your manager, and I quote, "Fuck no, fuck tires, and fuck him." Meanwhile, he still preaches how we Hispanics gotta keep watching out for each other, like he's not trying to fuck me over. It'd always be your own people. Yeah, that kind of is shitty. That's very hypocritical. You're okay? Good. Yeah, you're in for a lore day because I am very tired. So I don't want to do anything too hard. So we're not gonna do like Zane's story, birthday story yet. So we're just reading through stuff. And if I get bored, it's low like us, you know? Sorry, my groceries arrived, so I just gotta put some stuff away real fast. I say groceries, but it's mostly like beverages and instant food. I hope I remember to bring the instant food to work. Be my dinner and stuff. I don't have time to like leave work these days. So my new boss is here and I was like really worried, but I think she's working hard, which is great because it's motivating me. Also, it means she has a good work ethic. That's why you don't really care for our people have suffered narrative. I mean, like, I do think that it's fine to talk about, like, you know what I mean? It's like how, like, you know, Yime and I bitch about how it sucks to be a woman sometimes. But, yeah, we don't, like, stab each other in the back. And we also, like, are not speaking solely of ourselves or just trying to justify our own behaviors, you know? Like, bad behavior. Character story 3. Character story 3. Dahlia's friends tend to be pretty good at holding their drink. None more so than Venti. The first time they met, Venti was drinking alone in a tavern, a bewildering array of empty bottles laid out before him. Taking note of his bardic attire, Dahlia had assumed he was a frustrated artist trying to drown his sorrows in wine. As such, he decided to accompany the singer for a round or 3. He gently probed, hoping to tactfully uncover the source of the bard's troubles. Was he suffering from writer's block? Had his latest work received negative reviews? Were his performances not bringing in enough money? In the end, after downing his 28th cup of apple cider, the bard joyfully shared his reason for drinking. The fruit harvest that year had been a good one, and the wine it produced tasted exceptionally sweet. The bard explained how once he had got going, he had found it difficult to stop until the room was spinning and his eyes glazed over. It appeared he was simply a connoisseur of fine wine. So Dahlia paid for the remaining drinks and ordered round after round, until the two of them were not only satisfied and sated, but had become the firmest of friends. Why did they say firmest? Anyway. Are they trying to say that they're hard? Anyway. And so, when Dahlia arranged to meet Venti atop the city walls to share his adventures of the past few days, he made sure to bring libations. Venti was curious to know why he had fled. When common folk encountered trouble in their lives, they would often seek the church's aid. Surely that was exactly the role Dahlia wanted. He thought back to his childhood, when his mother would take him along to morning prayers. He had always found these occasions too solemn and gloomy. He would think up ways to slip away or doodle absent-mindedly on the pews. If he were to join the ranks of the clergy, these rituals were certain to become a regular part of his routine. Not to mention, the thought of all those weighty tomes filled with scripture made him dizzy. Venti gave a laugh and then asked again, if there was a way to make the rituals more interesting, would he consider it then? For instance, what if he were to help transmit the animal archon's guidance to his flock? Well, there was no way Dahlia was going to turn down an opportunity like that. And thus that night it came to pass that Dahlia became the guardian of a scarcely believable secret, while Barbados in turn gained a most trustworthy herald. So that's how he ended up joining the church. Wow, when you're literally recruited by God himself. Incredible. Character story 4. Before the sisters had time to lament his departure, Dahlia had returned to the Church of Favonius. This time he claimed to be an oracle, bearing the words of Barbados himself, words which required their help to pass on to the people. Those present were understandably unsure. There had been many cases of charlatans abusing the Archon's name to defraud the common folk, but seldom had anyone attempted to hoodwink the clergy themselves. Although as Dahlia had a reputation for finding joy in helping others, the sisters were divided. Some supported helping him, while others remained unconvinced. Those who were opposed believed that this oracle, oh my god, I cannot read. Let me start this again. Those who were opposed believed that should this oracle prove false, it would damage the reputation of the church, while those who were in favor felt that oracular proclamations were nothing more than suggestions. Should the things they predict did not come to pass, it would be of little significance to the common folk. However, should true prophecies be ignored, great harm could potentially be done. After everyone had carefully weighed the benefits and risks, those who supported helping the oracle spread his word found themselves in the ascendancy. Therefore, Victoria noted down Dahlia's enlightened words and proclaimed them to the faithful at morning prayers. After a few days, all of his predictions were proven true. Timely rains fell for several straight days after Dahlia's call to plant seeds was followed, while a ferocious storm arose on the day he called for none to take their boats out to sea. And on the day when he decreed the hunter should hunt, their captured prey was doubled. During this time, rumors of a youth blessed by God spread like wildfire throughout the church and the wider world. The result was that the church formally offered Dahlia the position of deacon, a position he readily accepted. On the first day that Dahlia conducted morning prayers, the cathedral was packed to the rafters with common folk who had heard tell of his abilities. They enthusiastically told him their problems, hoping that they might receive some divine guidance. Even the longest-serving sisters had never witnessed such scenes. Previously, the only way to attract so many people to the cathedral would have been to let Barbara hold a concert there. Please remain calm and await your turn. Our time is limited. I shall try to focus on the most important questions. Dahlia answered the people's questions in an orderly manner before publicly announcing the date of his next time leading morning prayers. Thanks to Barbados's blessing, morning prayers were no longer the solemn and stuffy occasion they once had been. And there was now one more reason for people to come to church. Oh my god, why is he so funny? Spidey sense no, BL sense yes. Oh yeah, for sure. My BL sense is always active, even when I'm exhausted. Hello, Supani. What's up? How are you? Welcome into the stream. We're currently reading Dahlia's story. Let me know if you play Genshin Impact. All right, character story 5. These are fun. I like his character stories. They're like very simple, just a nice little backstory, you know? I guess because he doesn't have like a hangout, which I know they're not doing anymore, and he doesn't have like a particular event quest yet. Guys, I cannot wait until they give us a Dahlia like centered event quest. Character story 5. Once went out searching for a certain member of the choir who had failed to turn up for hymn practice. Is it Rosaria again? Dahlia came across a young man lying unconscious near Dragonspine. The youth's clothes were torn and his body was covered in wounds, and he didn't appear to be local. As he didn't appear to be local, Dahlia temporarily abandoned his search and took the young man back to the church to rest and recuperate. A fortnight passed and the youth made a full recovery. Hoping to repay Dahlia for his kindness, he asked about, seeking to discover what recompense might be most appreciated. He asked about. Shortly after, Dahlia received a valuable gift along with an official-looking letter. It turned out that the youth was a researcher from Sumeru, investigating flora and fauna in other parts of Tevat. Due to the regions he was researching being mostly uninhabited forests, mountains, and bodies of water, he would regularly encounter dangerous situations. His original companions were injured one by one until only he was left. After hearing about Dahlia's deeds, it occurred to the researcher that such adventures may be of some interest to him, and so he invited him to come along. Upon reading the researcher's earnest letter, Dahlia fell into deep contemplation. One of his favorite pastimes was reading popular adventure novels. The protagonists would all start out with ordinary, mundane lives before setting off on wondrous adventures following some unexpected opportunity. He himself had dreamed of taking off toward a distant land and searching for even greater troubles to get involved in, stumbling from one dire situation to the next, all while engineering a miraculous escape. And now, this invitation in front of him might truly have been just such an opportunity for adventure. He could imagine all the wonderful surprises that might await him on his journey. Dahlia considered the researcher's offer for a full day and even thanked him personally before turning it down. He had many reasons to refuse the offer, such as his duties with the choir, who might fall apart without his leadership, or the friends he had in Mondstadt and those lost souls who sought divine guidance. He wished to prioritize the problems that were already before him and enjoy the pleasures of his present position to the fullest. The wind blowing atop the city walls, the bubbles rising in the finest dandelion wine, the cheerful laughter of the people. The day he might finally set foot on soil untouched by the whistling breeze, these things would surely become his most cherished memories. He found his place after all. Dahlia's a very cute character. I'm a twink boy, but nothing can get you to step in a church unless the pastor wants it. Listen, I will not forsake the blessing of the animal archon, all right? Since Venti has chosen to bless me as well, I feel a connection to Dahlia, okay? Unfortunately, your device is not support playing this. Oh, yeah, it is. It is a very, like, I guess, heavy game, right? So, yeah, understandable. I know that for a lot of people, that is something that holds them back. Well, what games do you play, if any? All right, choir book. Okay, ooh. Dahlia's Book of Hymns. Most of the songs contained within are odes of praise to the animal archon that have been passed down for generations. However, a handwritten score has been inserted beneath the final page. This recent edition is not an established official hymn, nor has it ever been performed by the choir as part of a public performance. Its origins lie in a chance encounter and more than a little wine. On that fateful day, Dahlia was drinking with his friends, so lost in conversation that they hardly noticed the sun setting and the stars now shining in their place. One of his companions was curious to know how he could still drink through the evening hours now that he was an ordained deacon in the church. Dahlia gave a mirthful smile. It is through the animal archon's blessing that this land produces such fine wine. Is enjoying the fruits that Barbados has provided not itself a form of praise? All those present raised their cups and shared a toast to Barbados. Venti, who was also there and playing a tune, felt a sudden wave of inspiration and began to perform an ode to fine wine. Once the final chords had faded, he wrote the music down and declared it a gift for the leader of the choir. Dahlia was naturally ecstatic to accept such a gift. Oh my god, he has a song that was written for him by Venti. Wow. Okay. This is the Venti ship, you guys. Venti and Dahlia, that's the ship. Okay. The hymns he was used to performing were from a bygone era and all followed the same stale style. To his mind, it was about time the choir's repertoire was brought up to date. As soon as he got back, he planned to add this new song to the program. Unfortunately, many of the sisters did not share his modernizing views. As Victoria put it, only an appearance from Barbados himself would sway her mind. Dahlia could see it was a lost cause and quietly put the idea aside. Until that year's Wineless Fest, that is, where Dahlia personally performed the ode, accompanied by Venti, of course, across multiple days of the festival. And so it was that the hymn became popular throughout the city. Indeed, no matter which street you walked along back then, you could always hear its refrains carried on the wind from somewhere nearby. Oh, that's so cute. That should be the animal archon and Steve Jobs on men. Unfortunately, your device... Oh, yes, I read that. Okay. Vision. Oh, yeah. How did he get his vision? All right. Deacon Dahlia's name flew through the streets of Mondstadt like the lilting notes of a hymn. Even the cats, sunning themselves on the roofs and pavements, would meow in response to hearing it. Those he had helped would smile and say, "Oh, I remember that, Dahlia." While those who had once been the object of his snooping interventions would turn up their noses and snort, "How did that nosy so-and-so manage to climb so high anyway? Come on, it's our turn to make some sport of him." The shuffling sound of massing feet were swallowed in the cavernous hall of the cathedral. The only sound that could be heard beneath the dappled light from the stained glass windows was Dahlia's voice. His words were clear and simple, yet conveyed a sense of gravity. "That's not right," a voice cried out, finally seizing the chance to challenge him. "Where in the scripture does it say that? I can find no such words." Those nearby turned their irate gazes upon this unwelcome speaker, and a well-minded stranger attempted to explain. "Barbados is the god of freedom. His words are not constrained by scripture." Dahlia calmly cleared his throat, his composure unwavering, a flicker of excitement dancing across his brow. "No one can seize the wind that does not wish to dally. Yet now that this wind would grasp our hands, some stubbornly seek to trap it in the pages of a book." This was simply an interlude, and as the speaker had not achieved their goal of humiliating Dahlia, they had no choice but to turn and walk unhappily away, in full view of everyone. Yet when Dahlia returned home, he retrieved his book of scripture, as thick and heavy as a slab of rock, gently blew the dust off its covers, and began to read it word by word until he knew its contents by heart. No one had required him to do so, and Dahlia had never feared if others should question him. Whether people believed him or not, he was Barbados's herald, and because he was Barbados's herald, he knew that the animal archon was not some solemn deity who would leave behind sermons and commandments. This so-called scripture was, at its heart, a book of Mondstadt's history, of praise for the animal archon, of gratitude for plenty, and of hopes for freedom. It had little to do with Barbados himself. But Dahlia understood that he was no longer the common, excitable citizen of Mondstadt that he had once been. He was a deacon of the Church of Favonius. His every word and every action was a representation of the church and of Barbados. It would not be hard for him to give out the same quick, impromptu responses he always had, but was that what the church and its followers truly needed? A few days later, when Dahlia was once again holding morning prayers, the congregation noticed something different in his bearing. His movements were solemn, his speech notably full of purpose. His words now flowed like the finest poetry as the warm light from the stained glass windows reflected in his eyes. By the time he had finished, even Victoria couldn't help but ask if Barbados himself hadn't stopped by to give him some inspirational pointers. He lifted his head, thinking of the vision he had found lying like a bookmark on his tome of scriptures, and which he had now affixed to his robes. Perhaps fate smiles on those who are most diligent. He gave Victoria a wink and flashed her a cryptic smile. What he had left unsaid is that he had already changed for the benefit of others. He now desired to use his power to guide the world along a brighter path. I like this story because I said a long time ago that I think something that pretty much all of the Hydro characters have in common is their devotion, their complete dedication and faith in something, right? Which I know can be similar to ambition, but I feel like it's a little bit like it's not necessarily that, right? It's this devotion to like a particular like ideal. And I feel like his vision story really covers something like that. He finally devoted himself to this duty, to this work, and to the people of Mondstadt, and then he gained a vision. So, I don't know. Just seems kind of nice, you know? Let's look at some voice lines. All right. Oh my gosh, there's a lot. Okay. Let's look at about Dahlia's duties.
부제는 보통 페보니우스 성당의 기도 예배를 보조하지만 저는 감사하게도 특별한 재능을 받아 신의 뜻을 듣고 그 계시를 전하는 일도 맡고 있어요. 어떻게 보면 성당에서 바람신의 대행자라고 할 수 있죠. 그리고 모르셨겠지만 전 성가대의 리드 보컬이에요.
Lead vocal. Okay. This twink. I like this twink cat boy. Me too. I really like him. The toolbox you want is on sale. How much of a sale though?
몬드 사람들은 큰 난관에 부딪히면 바람신께 인도를 구해요. 그럴 때마다 빅토리아 수녀님은 제가 새벽 기도를 진행해 주길 바라시죠. 제가 질문하면 반드시 바르바토스님의 답변이 돌아오니까요. 아마 신이 절 참 좋아하시나 봐요.
Oh my gosh, even the way he laughs is similar to Venti. Right? 100 off. Well, that's not bad. Okay. That's like a 10% discount. Maybe more, but like, I don't know, Cappy. Consult with Beck. Yesterday, you understood that global warming is a real problem. Oh no. Bad weather. Okay, about us, great deed.
어디에 가든 항상 각종 문제에 휘말리신다고 들었어요. 하지만 저는 문제를 만들어내는 것 말고 해결도 잘하죠. 어때요? 저희는 타고난 파트너 같지 않나요?
Oh my god. I love him.
기사단의 명예기사와 성당의 부재는
I love his voice,
어떤
too.
의미에서 보면 직책이 겹친다고 생각해요. 겉보기엔 편하고 쉬워 보이지만 사람들의 가장 무거운 고민과 마주하고 바람신을 대신해 그것들을 날려버리잖아요. 이 얼마나 고귀한 일인지 그런 우리를 위해 이 사과주를 바칩니다.
Oh my god. He's just so chill, you know? I love him. He said if you get 50 hours this week, you can buy. Oh, okay. All right. Then you got goals.
전 제가 바람 원소신의 눈을 얻을 거라고 생각했는데 이런 재밌는 결과가 나왔지 뭐예요? 바르바토스님 눈에 저는 길을 헤매는 사람은 아닌가 봐요.
Did he just reveal something about the nature of animal visions? Do you get? Or is he just like teasing the way that Venti seems to have adopted everybody? A lost soul who needs his constant attention. Is Jean a lost soul? Interesting.
바람신의 백성은 죽으면 민들레가 되는데 자신이 뿌리를 내린 땅에 머물기 싫어서 바람이 불면 연이어 하늘로 날아오른다고 해요. 먼 길을 떠날 수 없더라도 자신을 가장 독한 술로 빚어 취기로 무료한 사람에게 대담한 변화를 가져다주고 싶어하죠. 바람신이 보호하사 제가 죽으면 민들레가 되게 하소서.
I really like how he said that by the end. By the grace of the animal archon, when I die, may I be reborn as a dandelion. I really like how he said that.
벤티, 친애하는 친구죠. 바람신의 뜻을 여쭤야 할 때마다 나서서 도와주는데 직접 나서기 힘들 때에는 제가 나서서 해결해요. 아무튼 저희는 쭉 좋은 협력 관계를 유지하고 있어요.
They maintain a very good partnership. Okay. 300,000 acres of standing crop gone. Oh my god, that's awful. That sounds horrible. Yeah, and that's such a big issue for the entire community.
페보니우스 기사단에서 제가 가장 친숙한 사람은 진단장님일 거예요. 저희 둘 다 번거로운 일을 처리하는 자리에 자주 참석하니까요. 하지만 문제 해결 방식은 완전히 달라요. 전 좋은 아이디어를 언제든 공유하는데 진단장님은 늘 자신의 방식을 고집하더라고요.
I'm gonna check to see what Jean has to say about him in a moment.
바바라는 제 동료이자 친구예요. 제가 도움이 필요할 땐 늘 손을 내밀어 주죠. 보답으로 전 바바라가 도울 수 있는 일을 더 많이 찾아내고 계속 도움을 청해요. 네? 뭔가 이상하다고요? 아시잖아요. 바바라는 타인을 돕는 과정에서 즐거움을 느낀다는 걸. 저희도 바바라가 즐거워하는 걸 즐거워해야 하지 않겠어요?
Oh my god, why does he sound so manipulative?
로자리아 씨와는 아주 친한 친구 사이예요. 성당에 자주 안 계신 것도 이미 익숙하고요. 하지만 처음에는 저와 비밀을 공유하려 하지 않으셨어요. 그래서 저는 로자리아 씨를 잡아내는 방법을 찾았고 그 후로는 저와 서로에게 득이 되는 거래를 하게 됐죠.
He sounds like a menace.
케이아 씨는 최고의 술 친구예요.
Oh,
가끔 벤티가 한 달 동안 술집을 무료로 이용하게 해줄 수 있는 것도 케이아 씨가 주선해준 덕분이죠. 그걸 빌미로 저한테 술을 사라고 요구하시긴 하지만요. 에휴, 제가 모두의 신뢰를 받는 바르바토스님의 전도자인 걸 어쩌겠어요? 자, 바람신의 이름으로 건배!
oh my god. So he drinks with Kea too. Wow. Oh, what does he have to say about Duluth?
다이루크 씨는 아주 특별한 술집 사장님이에요. 케이아 씨의 화술을 간파하는 것도 제 흥정을 거절하는 것도 그분뿐이죠. 그 외에 이 전 기병대장에 대해 아는 건 문서실에 기록된 것 정도가 다예요. 하지만 당신은 더 많은 걸 알고 있겠죠? 어때요? 같이 천사의 몫에 가서 얘기 좀 할까요?
Oh, he's trying to get some details out of us.
아, 클레어. 한 번은 물 슬라임으로
He is a
수학관을
menace.
연습하다가 마주쳤는데 통통 폭탄을 더 높이 날릴 방법을 찾았다고 정말 기뻐하더라고요.
Surprise
저도
baptism.
기뻐서 클레와 며칠 동안 밤늦게까지 놀았어요. 슬라임이랑 통통이를 더 높은 곳으로 날려보내면서요. 그러다 결국 성문 꼭대기의 성벽을 폭파해버려서 로렌스 씨한테 고발당했지만요. 그 후로는 진단장님께 통통 폭탄의 수압검을 쓰는 걸 금지당했어요.
Oh my god. He is such a menace.
성당에 있는 것보단 사람들이 모인 곳에 있는 게 더 좋아요.
There's a lot of more
사람이
about
많을수록
Dahlia.
더욱요. 성당의 부제로서 신도들의 고민을 들어주는 건 저의 직책이자 취미거든요. 하지만 모두가 타인에게 고민을 털어놓을 용기가 있는 건 아니에요. 그래서 제가 먼저 나서야 하죠. 벤치에 앉은 저 아가씨는 왜 한숨을 쉬는 걸까? 성벽의 저 아저씨는 왜 인상을 찌푸리는 걸까?
He's so nosy.
사람과 사람 사이의 이런 일들은 항상 저를 끌어당겨요.
He's always drawn to what's going on between people.
타인의 번거로움을 해결해주는 건 제 취미예요. 많은 사람이 그걸 싫어하는 건 그들이 거기서 즐거움을 느끼지 못해서죠. 상상해봐요. 한 쌍의 젊은이가 서로를 좋아하지만 상대의 생각을 몰라 마음을 표현하지 못하고 고민하고 있어요. 그럴 때 살짝 개입해서 어느 날의 성가대 공연을 듣다가 서로가 옆에 앉은 걸 발견하게 하는 거죠. 둘은 몰래 서로를 바라보다 눈이 마주치자 얼굴이 빨개지고
He's just
이런 흥미진진한 순간을 감상하는 게 부제의를 하게 하는 동력이에요.
he's just setting up couples here. More than 500 people died in landslides. Oh no. Yeah, no, that is awful. I'm so sorry for your community. As a fellow menace to society, you approve of his methods. Yeah.
바람신의 총애를 어떻게 얻은 건지 궁금하지 않나요?
Aren't you
사실
curious?
어렵지 않아요. 몬드성의 주점을 잘
It
알고
wasn't that hard.
제때 특별한 손님을 초대해 술을 마시면 되죠. 그렇게 놀라지 마요. 저도 당신처럼 바람신의 비밀을 알고 있고 누구에게도 말하지 않았어요. 위대한 바르바토스님이 비밀을 지켜야 더 재밌을 거라고 절 설득하셨거든요.
Oh my god.
부제라는 신분은 좋지만 부제로서 신탁을 어떻게 전할까 하는 고민이 있어요. 사람들이 큰 문제를 마주했을 때 바르바토스님이 내리는 계시는 보통 직관적이고 간결하거든요. 하지만 사람들이 더 빨리 마음을 열고 행동하게 하려면 계시에 더 신성한 느낌을 부여해야 해요. 돌아온 바람이 하늘의 감로를 가져왔으니 바람신의 백성이여 토지의 수고로 씨를 뿌리고 은혜를 기다리거라 라는 말은 사실 곧 비가 올 테니 빨리 씨를 뿌려라 라는 뜻이지만 전자가 후자보다 훨씬 신성한 계시 같죠? 그래서 매번 계시를 받은 후 어떻게 말할지 열심히 고민해요.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
우리끼리 얘긴데요. 전 늘 몬드성을 떠나 바람이 불지 않는 곳으로 가서 이런저런 사건에 휘말리고 싶어요. 당신처럼요. 하지만 길 잃은 자들에겐 바람신의 인도가 필요하니 그걸 무시하고 떠날 순 없겠죠? 차라리 삶의 재미를 더 찾아보는 게 낫겠어요. 바람 속의 음표라든가 좋은 술 안의 거품, 혹은 당신의 새로운 이야기 같은 거요.
Okay. All right, we know his hobbies, but let's see how he
신에게
puts it.
정말 환상적인 우연을 만나게 해달라고 기도하는 거요. 그게 사실은 문제거리라도 말이죠.
His hobby, just meddling. All right, what are his troubles?
인생 대부분의 시간을 기복 하나 없는 일상으로 반복해야 하는 거요.
Ah,
아휴,
he doesn't like routines. All right, favorite food?
음...
Oh,
지옥 불맛이라고 들어보셨어요? 그거야말로 미각의 정점이죠.
yes. He likes spicy food.
지옥 불맛이라고 들어보셨어요? 그거야말로 미각의 정점이죠.
Korean is much shorter, as you can see from here. He just says, have you heard of hellish levels of spiciness? That's the pinnacle of favor.
빵이랑 쌀죽 같은 맛없이 배만 채우는 음식은 나무 껍질과 다를 게 뭘까요? 나무 껍질은 나무 향이라도 나지.
Oh my god. I love the way he says it too. It's just so very like casual. Like he really means that.
선물 감사해요. 바람신의 가호가 함께하길. 이 요리는 새로 빚은 민들레주와 잘 어울릴 것 같은데 제가 한 잔 살까요? 선물 감사해요. 새벽 기도 때 당신을 축복할게요.
Okay, and then
죄송한데 아주 오래전 바람신의 계시가 있었어요. 페보니우스 성당 부제로서 전 이런 음식을 먹는 게 금지되었답니다.
he's so nice. He's so nice. He's just like, yeah, God told me I can't eat this food.
제 믿음이 보답을 받았군요. 하지만 전 계속 기도할 거예요. 신은 여전히 저희를 지켜보고 계시니까요. 순결한 바람이 사람들을 스치고 나면 다양한 냄새를 가지게 되죠. 어린아이의 어리석음과 중년의 탄식이 모두 바람 속에 숨어 있어요.
I love that this has nothing to do with
느껴지나요?
getting more powerful.
바람 속의 냄새가요. 발걸음을 내딛고 가야 할 여정에 올라라. 문 밖의 종소리는 신의 계시예요. 지금 당신을 부르고 있죠.
Interesting. I wonder what his last line is gonna be. We'll level it up soon enough. I just need a few more things. Okay, so that was Dahlia. I really like him. He's very entertaining. He's definitely a little troll, a little menace. I know he's got a voice line. Oh yeah. Let's see if we can find it. It should be opening a chest. Here we go.
신탁이 재물을 챙겨가라네요. 뒤에 올 사람들이 분쟁에 빠지지 않도록요. 미풍이 불었어요. 바르바토스님의 선물인가 봐요. 빈 상자는 닫아서 여기 놔둘까요?
This is the reason that Bennett keeps finding empty chests. They're all placed there by Dahlia. I love him. He's so messy. All right, let's take a look at Skirk. Let's read about Skirk. Think he knows Venti's Barbados. He does. Are you asking the question? Because he said he did. He was told that, and that's what convinced him to join the church. Basically, Venti was like, well, what if I make you my herald? And he was like, what? And then Venti was like, surprise. So yeah, that's how he joined the church. Was because Venti was like, if you join the church, I'll make you my herald. Crazy. You saw a video of flash flood in the video houses look like small paper houses? Yeah. No, like, floods are really, really, like, strong. They're really powerful. Okay. Her existence is like an unproven rumor. Sometimes past the stroke of midnight, a tavern goer will swear he had glimpsed her, waving hands painting a story of a person that nobody could be sure ever was. For a long time, Skirk had journeyed through Teyvat like a shadow, avoiding anything more than brief contact with others, only gathering intel when absolutely necessary. It wasn't until very recently that there came to be one who could claim to know her. Oh, my master? Haha. She's the type to keep to herself. And let's see. She's an alright cook. Is this child? Is this child talking? Oh my god. It is. And let's see. She's an alright cook. Could have been the creatures in that space tasting a little off in general, of course. We initially agreed to swing by my place after leaving. I wanted to let her try my family's homemade sausages this year. It's a real shame she couldn't make it. But enough about that. After all, what matters most about my master is her strength, and the sheer arrogance she has to go with it. Oh no, I know what I said. I'm not being ironic, and I mean no insult. As I, Tartaglia, grow stronger every day, I get the chance to know my master's strength anew with each and every sunrise. When we first started my training, she only needed one hand to beat me. That was undoubtedly her arrogance shining through. But when facing a weak opponent, I believe that arrogance is an aesthetic unto itself. To crush them outright would be unbecoming, yet to feign humility only to turn the tables later on? That, dear comrade, would be far too deliberate. In the present day, this review of Skirk reached her ears while she was drinking in a tavern. She furrowed her brow. As I've said before, I still communicate normally with those who possess some measure of skill, and the food in the abyssal rift only tasted off to him because he's an ordinary human. About training, I don't really care how many hands I use, but I do care how many he'll have left when I'm done teaching. He still needs to live in Tevat, so he can't just make new limbs for himself with abyssal energy like I can. Arrogance and carelessness are both dangerous things. It's good that he wants to improve rather than to show off. Otherwise, I'd start worrying about finding his corpse in some strange nook or cranny. I love that there's just like this misunderstanding between them, but he still really admires her. Oh my god. Oh, I really want Nam Do-hyung to voice these lines. Man, I gotta like send him a request or something. Be like, bro, get yourself on a Skirk account and read these lines. He's trying to find her in Fontaine by asking people. Yeah, he's so... Well, yeah. I really need them to meet. Okay, sorry, I was comparing their accounts. Alright, character story 1. Let's go, she's not going to make it, but our orders were too. The young child held onto her broken, bloody arm and watched two figures before her through blurry eyes. In the end, the one who seemed to be in charge bade the other to stop talking. They turned around, then vanished in the distance. Not long ago, her people had learned that the universe held more civilizations than they had ever imagined. In the past, the chance to interact with those beyond their world had been limited to a wizened, scholarly few. Just a few months ago, the leaders had announced that the trade relations were amicable. So why? Beams cracked and splintered under tongues of flame. In the infernal maw, the little girl lay, suffocated by smoke, heat, and blood loss. As the debris and charred wood that buried her were dug away, she heard a sound, something squeaking. Her eyelids had been crusted shut with dried blood, but even so blinded, she could sense the light's intrusion. And she could hear footsteps crunching on the scorched terrain, each footfall shattering the broken bricks beneath it. The newcomer easily freed the little girl from the wreckage restraining her. Then, placing one massive hand on her shoulder, they yanked her out. The pain of being pulled so suddenly made her think that all her limbs had been torn off at once. She cried, and as tears forced their way through her eyelids, they washed away the coagulated blood. She was surprised to find that she was still hydrated enough to cry. But the feeling lasted barely a moment. The next thing she knew, the agony sent her spiraling into unconsciousness. She was surprised to wake up again. She had not thought she would be granted the mercy of opening her eyes a second time. Though her vision still swam, she could make out a bonfire and the tall man who sat before it cross-legged. Off to the side, a hulking rat-like beast cowered in the shadows, inky eyes mirroring the fire's wild flicker. we get to like read about Sir Logi. Oh my god, this is so interesting. Ooh. Honestly, it's amazing that it's taking me this long to read her stuff, right? Because like I knew it would be like lore heavy, but I've just been so busy. And I wanted to read it with like other people, you know? Awake then? Don't waste your breath on asking questions unrelated to your survival. The man did not so much as glance her away. Glance her way. He continued to tend the bonfire with his blade. So, do you want to die or do you want to live? She wanted to ask him why she was still alive at all. She wanted to ask who he was, but he had warned her not to waste her breath. So the girl simply turned her gaze to the starry sky and nodded. Having received her answer, the man plucked his sword from the embers and slew the rat-like beast in one swing. He cut the meat from its legs, skewered the chunks using his weapon, and cooked them over the open fire. At last he stood up, something he seldom did, and shoved the meat between her teeth. Bland as it was, the oiliness of the fat was more than a feast for the starving girl. At the very least, he didn't ask her to feed herself. It seemed he understood that her limbs were ruined beyond repair. Oh my god. Wow. Literally, no arms and no... Oh wow, that's insane. I gotta have, like, Lucky read this. Character story 2. Once the girl's wounds had stabilized, the man allowed her to ask some trivial questions. Are you also one of the survivors? I am not. Then why can I understand you? There is one state of chaos and only one definition of the void. Order, by contrast, can be assembled 1,000 different ways. The people of your planet once relied on their great adaptability to make contact with the abyss. Ooh. And even after death, the lingering power they carried retains some trace records of this. That power is similar in essence to my own. So I wove together the dying echoes of countless souls and spent some time learning from them. Half a day or so, I believe. Half a day? He learned how to speak her language in half a day? Just to learn our language? Then my father and mother are dead. Devoured as meager meat for its strength, gulped down like scraps. The man answered in the second question, then continued. At first, I believe these people went through the troubles of eradicating all life on this planet because there was something worth destroying. Some incredible technology with which the abyss might be wielded, perhaps. But I was mistaken. Your methods are crude, your technology is primitive. One might think your civilization lacked even one individual who possessed any ambition or strength in all its history. Are you not the same? Did you not eat the flesh of the creature that dug you out of the ruins? Though, I should mention, I brought it here from another planet, since all life on yours is extinct. I doubt I will even find a single species adept at looking for things here. The girl wanted to say something, but no words rose to her lips. Instead, she decided to ask something else. Why am I still alive? Your civilization coexisted with the abyss. That's so fascinating, right? The fact that her civilization from her world had no trouble coexisting with the abyss, right? Is it because of their adaptability then? I mean, I guess that is what he said, right? But does that mean that they don't become corrupted by the abyss the way that the abyss corrupts everything else? That's what are the implications of something like that for child who carries, like, who has the power of the foul legacy, right? That's got really big implications. Oh man, there's so much here. Okay. Your civilization coexisted with the abyss, though none ever used it directly. Each and every one of you was tainted in some way. This strengthened your constitution slightly. Had an ordinary human been in your place, they would have been suffocated, roasted, then crushed by the collapsing ceiling. So you can use this power to get stronger? The man's eyes glinted in the firelight, a perceptible change within them. Do you wish to become stronger? The girl nodded. Even if it costs you everything, even if you are judged and damned for using foul means to emerge victorious, do you still wish to become stronger? The girl answered, her words blown away by the wind sweeping that desolate planet. Bro mastered language in a single day and was like it was hard. Yeah, right? That's so fascinating. Man, her character story is really interesting. I'm not recording this one though. Because I'm sure like everyone has a Skirk and has looked into her. So, character story 3. She is called Skirk. Her severed tendons and shattered bones were restored by the man known as the Fowl, but this was no cause for celebration, for the man made her wield a blade every day and trained until her limbs were ruined anew. It was as though he simply wanted her to feel pain. Every day after training, her broken body would be restored yet again. She traveled across the universe with the Fowl, bearing witness to the trail of enemy graves he left in his wake. A weapon forged using the pooled resources of an entire star system. A god manifested by the unity of a whole civilization's beliefs. The mightiest warrior among billions. He buried them all. And as Skirk grew from the strength to strength, A revelation came upon her. Nobody had ever forced her master to use the true extent of his power. If it was a wicked beast, he ate its flesh. If it was a god or a machine, he absorbed its energy. If it was a warrior or mage, he played with his food, forcing them to use every trick in their book and cutting them down once he tired of the charades. To her master, this was what it meant to devour. Skirk's limbs were replaced with abyssal phantasms. Never again would they hurt. Her pain receptors, having been overloaded and utterly numbed over the long years, would never again fire a signal. Oh my god. Pain was simply a biological avoidance mechanism, so Skirk knew what her body was telling her. She was very strong. Few things could now pose a threat to her. This gave her some confidence. One day, she decided to dredge up the question she'd been waiting to ask all this time. Why did you save me back then? You who doesn't have Skirk. Oh, that's okay. You can hear her story here. It was a spontaneous impulse, nothing more. Her master, whose true name was Sertology, replied thusly. I may be the greatest calamity in the whole universe at this moment. Do you believe that? There's no need to discuss my belief in the matter, master. Those that once doubted are now dust in the void. Strength is what I have always pursued, the kind that lets one tear through every lie and manipulation. But having come this far, I find myself struck by one worry, that I might someday get bored. Skirk listened quietly. She couldn't fathom that the life of such a universe-shaking villain could be boring. After seeking the strongest warriors the universe has to offer, there may no longer be any further strength for me to seek. How did that story go again? Distance is measured by the heart, and my heart is slightly larger than the universe. Once the whole universe becomes my front lawn, all I see from then on will be 2 anthills waging pint-sized war. I will still be in my prime then, and at my most weary. Of course, Sertology was not one for reading stories. This quote only came to mind because some time ago he had come across a scrap drifting through the universe, one carrying the scent of his homeland. He took one look at the title and preface before throwing it away. It just so happened that those introductory words contained the aforementioned passage. Wait. Okay, I'm gonna look into this later if I remember anyway. What this is from. Like, what book? Do we have that? Do we have that book? What's the significance of it? To Sertology. Okay. Like, you know. So not to him personally. He obviously doesn't give a shit. I mean, like, why the writers decided to make it is. Okay. So the thought came to me of taking disciples, then waiting for them to mature before seeking them out for my amusement. You are the first of them. Sertology! Ah, fuck yourself. He's such an asshole. But he's so blunt about it that I just don't feel angry. Do you know what I mean? It's just it's just amusing. Okay. And once you leave, I will see you as my student no longer. I will strip you of everything. That which I gave you, that which you have claimed for yourself, even the unrelated miscellany around you. All will be reduced to ruin. Skirk knew none of this was some untruth meant to spur her on. Between her and Sertology, there was no deep master-student bond, no great care or far-reaching intent. Everything Sertology said, he meant at face value. One day, they would surely fight to the death. There were many paths one can take in the world, but once you stepped on one, the alternatives wither away. From that day onward, it was like a blade had descended upon from nowhere, and now hung above Skirk's head. Her destiny, her life, all of it now melded together and crystallized into a singular goal, getting stronger. Similar to Child in that regard. Character Story 5. Master, since you mentioned that your group once divided enough abyssal power amongst yourselves to overturn an entire world, or at least a sixth of it, how is it that you are now many times stronger than an entire world, even when alone? Did I save an idiot back then? Listen well, when the fruit of a tree dies, its seeds are sown in the rotten soil. Naturally, these seeds may grow into stronger trees that bear harvests 100 or even 1,000 times richer. Even if only 1 or 2 survivors escape the doom world, their will alone can become strong enough to reforge the very world they lost. With their parting imminent, Skirk no longer bothered to feign reverence or obedience. Fear only serves as a spur for the weak. But when you grow stronger, unconquerable fear will become naught but a shackle. In the end, she resolved to bid her master farewell. She headed back to Sir Logi's homeland, to the world known as Tevat. She wanted to find that mother tree, the tree that had borne corrupt fruit, whose tainted seed had grown into a truly formidable arbor. From that moment on, a great darkness had loomed over the whole forest, the shadow her master cast over the universe at large. Ah, so that makes sense. Why she would willingly throw herself into the abyss to get stronger. All across the sea of stars, other civilizations that saw her naturally regarded her as an ally of the foul. Every community she encountered during her travels took her for a member of the cosmic calamity and kept their distance in wary defense. Except for Tevat, where the one who supervised its borders lowered her guard after talking to Skirk. One who supervised its borders. Upon the establishment of an agreement, she granted the latter limited passage within the world. Oh wow, it's kind of funny. It's like she came to Tevat and met with immigration control, and they were like, "Yeah, we'll take you." I can't believe that immigration into Tevat is easier than into the U.S. right now. You do not belong here. It is not your home. The words of the fowl remained etched in her heart, never to fade away. But what if a wish, flung at a shooting star, as it passed in fire-fraught trails, could stitch even the faintest thread between it and the world? Her answer. Oh! Even if it costs you everything, even if you are judged and damned for using foul means to emerge victorious, do you still wish to become stronger? What was Skirk's answer back then? The one that had been blown away by the wind. Perhaps even if the answer were a fleeting yes, it would have changed nothing of what came after. But that had not been her reply. She was just a little girl. Her mind yet unburdened by craft or cunning. She longed only to thank and to beg forgiveness from the first life given to nourish her growth. Maybe the big rat and I could have been best friends. But I ate it. To the fowl, this utterance gained a second meaning. I have turned my back even on the one who saved me from the room. What remains then that I cannot discard? None can say how much of the exchange was colored by self-indulgence or misunderstanding, and how much of it was intentional. But beyond this, there may have been some misunderstandings between the two that neither had expected. Well then, since I was the one who saved you that day, will you also kill me one day in pursuit of strength? The fowl was stirred to expectation by his own words, but in her despair, the little girl did not notice. Oh my god! This is a fucked up family. The Seven Shifting Serpent. Okay. Seven Shifting Serpent is a little trick that the fowl passed down to Skirk. It was originally known as Chaos Permeation, a minor spell developed by Conria's Universitas Magistrorum. And it was... Magistrorum. Oh my god. And it was made to mock Tevat's wielders of elemental power. Users of the spell could use abyssal energy to evoke effects similar to the elements. The underlying principle was analogous to using the abyss to permeate reality, creating specific forms of negative pressure to thereby call upon the flow of a corresponding element's energy. To Conria, chaos permeation was a mere party trick employed in performances and parades. Dang! Okay. Wow. Vision holders are nothing. Wow. As a warrior, the fowl knew nothing of this technique at first, but as his understanding of abyssal power deepened, he came to master it almost instantly. While ordinary performers could spend months practicing the shape-shifting of a single element just to scrape by as a street entertainers, the fowl was able to effortlessly cycle through all seven on his first attempt. He passed this technique down to Skirk, but not so she could fall back on performances if she was strapped for Mora. After all, demonstrating mastery of abyssal techniques across the seven surface nations was something only a glutton for punishment would do. In my homeland, the seven elements represent the natural order of things, so if you wish to conceal your power for longer, disguise it using this trick. I wonder if we'll get like another form for Skirk later, where we'll get to see her full power. But this isn't Star Rail, so... Let's look about Skirk reading.
최근에 리월에서 고서를 보는데 흥미로운 구절이 있었어. 현명한 자의 마음은 거울과 같아 당기거나 밀어내지 않고 받아들일 때 숨기지 않으니 모든 것을 이기되 해치지 않는다. 이런 깨달음을 가진 작가라면 보기 드문 무학의 종사일 거라고 생각했는데 기록을 보니 그냥 평범한 여행자더라. 인간은 가끔 내 예상을 뛰어넘는 것 같아. 이게 바로 그들이 말하는 저력일까? 기분이 좋을 땐 검을 휘두르고 좌절할 때도 똑같이 해. 내가 강해져야만 운명이 고개를 숙이게 할 수 있으니까.
Okay, about us training.
단련하고 싶다면 심연에 데려가 줄게. 거긴 방해도 없고 시간의 흐름도 티바트와 다르니까 훨씬 효율적일 거야. 어쩌면 네 말처럼 질서 있는 우주를 만들려면 많은 이의 노력이 필요할지도 몰라. 하지만 난 희망을 남에게 걸 수 없어. 난 더 많은 것을 해내고 그들에게 이 길을 증명해야 해.
She's a leader.
나는 사부에게 심연의 힘을 다루는 법을 배웠고 켄리아의 유적 연구를 통해 그걸 일반 원수의 힘으로 흉내내는 방법도 찾았어. 결과적으로 너와 나는 신의 눈 없이 원수의 힘을 사용할 수 있지. 그건 우리의 소원이 신의 평가를 받을 필요가 없다는 거야.
Ooh. Okay, about Certology.
극악이라는 이름을 가진 사람이 몇이나 될까? 이 호칭을 붙인 자는 분명 그 사람을 아주 증오했겠지. 사부는 불의를 많이 저질렀고 기사 출신임에도 기사 정신을 저버렸어. 하지만 여전히 많은 사람이 그 자를 따르지. 그 사람은 강하고 차분하고 자신감 넘치며 누구에게든 솔직하니까. 그 사람의 목적은 단순히 감정을 충족시키는 게 아니라 자신을 더 완벽하게 만드는 거야.
When
그게
I
그 사람이 강인한 이유이자 위험한 점이지.
when we look at the when we look at the way that she talks about the foul, it feels like he's like if not an Aeon, at least an Emanator, right? Like kind of levels, right? Yeah, but somebody who is on a single-minded vision to become a complete and perfect version of what he considers valuable. That sounds a lot like an Emanator or Aeon, right? Bro, she's so hot. Jesus. Me trying to do lore, Kathy boobs. Oh my gosh. Okay, about Alice.
세계의 경계를 유지하는 자로서 그 여자는 내 존재를 묵인했지만
Oh, it was
나도 이
Alice she
세계에
met.
지나친 간섭을 하지 않겠다고
Wait, I think I knew that.
약속해야 했어.
I think I just forgot.
난 그러지 않을 거였지만 이유는 알 필요가 있었지. 그 여자는 이렇게 말했어. 생태학자들은 동물이 사냥하거나 쫓겨 죽을 때 마음이 요동치지만 절대 간섭하지 않고 자연의 법칙이 자신의 희비를 좌우하는 것을 지켜만 본다고.
Dude, what the?
이걸 관찰자의 냉정함이라고 하는 사람도 있겠지만 나는 이것도 일종의 자비라고 생각해.
Dude, what the heck is Alice? The sustainer of the world's borders. What the fuck is Alice?
전에 한번 만났을 때 나보고 마음의 소리에 귀 기울이라면서 현재의 삶을 즐길 줄 알아야 한다고 하더라. 진심 어린 조언이었으니 마땅히 감사해야겠지.
She's got a voice line about Nicole too, but we'll go in order. You're back after clicking one photo of Sky. Okay.
사부의 라이벌이었지만 가장 친한
Rival.
친구이기도 했던 것 같아.
Best
원래
friend?
그자에게 사부에 관한 걸 물어보려고 했는데 내 검수를 알아보자 흥분해서는 사부의 행방을 계속 캐묻더라. 귀찮은 사람이라 한동안은 만나고 싶지 않아.
Wow. That's so interesting. That he was like best pals with Certology. Like that their relationship was that close.
앨리스의 친구이자 똑똑한 상인이지. 나는 가끔 감나가는 마물의 자네를 그녀에게 팔아서 그 모라로 티바트에서의 생활비를 충당해. 나한텐 인상이 나쁘지 않아. 내 신분을 물어본 적이 없거든. 거래 가격이 공평한지 아닌지는 별로 상관없어. 돈은 쓸 만큼만 있으면 되고 많다고 좋을 것도 없으니까. 발전했더라. 이젠
It's
두 손으로
improved.
싸워줘도 될 정도야. 아약스는 재능도 있고 전투를 두려워하지 않는 마음도 있어. 강자가 되기 위한 필수 요소지. 하지만 난 녀석처럼 빛나던 천재가 칼날을 드러내기도 전에 유성처럼 추락하는 걸 자주 봐왔어. 스스로가 꿈꾸는 모습이 되려면 아직 가야 할 길이 멀어. 잃어버린
More death
힘은
flags for
결국
child.
다른 방식으로 되찾게 되지. 하지만 이 힘이 가리키는 종점은 어디일까? 심판일까? 복수일까? 아니면 새로 개척한 미래일까? 그의 마음속에는 이미 답이 있을지도 몰라. 그건 그가 줄곧 찾아온 존재의 의미와 근원을 같이 할 수도 있겠지.
Wow, this is surprisingly deep. I'm gonna look at that in a moment. But her, senpai, her lore is so deep and beautiful. After hours of examinations, I finally understood her pain. Kathy boobs, yeah, accurate. Okay, lost power is reclaimed in the end, but where will this power lead? To a trial, to revenge, or toward a new future? The question that strikes at the heart of his quest to find the meaning of his existence. Perhaps deep down he already has his answer. Wow.
거짓된 하늘을 지나칠 때 티바트를 둘러싸고 있는 세 개의 달을 봤어. 그중 두 개는 이미 부서졌고 차가운 잔해가 정처 없이 떠돌고 있었지. 온전한 그
This is
하나도
foreshadowing.
생기가 없었지만 그 의지만은 아직 완전히 사라지지 않았어.
A glimmer of truth will
어쩌면
emerge in the false
언젠가
sky.
거짓된 하늘에 이 세 개만의 진실이 탄생할지도 모르지.
Interesting. I feel like this is a major hint for what's coming in Notcry.
인간이 되는 건 진화일까 태화일까? 종족의 자멸을 목도했을 때 그녀는 어떤 생각을 했을까?
Oh,
그녀를 알게 된 후에 나도 물어보고 싶었지만 그녀의 성격을 생각해서 그냥 관뒀어. 조용히 조각상을 만들게 두는 게 나아.
oh, Nicole. Nicole has got to be an angel, right? Or no, because the Fae weren't destroyed, so the Fae survived. Nicole's got to be something like an angel, right? So she became a human. The self-destruction of her species. Oh, Nicole is definitely an angel.
내가 주목할 만한 일은 많지 않아. 난 대부분의 시간을 심연에서 훈련하고 있어.
Gonna commission a
날
comic
신경 쓸
panel.
것 없어. 이 세계에 뭔가 할 생각은 없으니까.
Make sure you have money for your toolbox.
장시간의 훈련 후 피로와 통증을 풀어주는 게 가장 큰 골칫거리야. 심연의 힘을 제어해 근육을 풀어줄 수는 있지만 심연의 힘을 사용하는 것도 힘이 드는 일이니까. 그래서 스트레칭을 배웠는데 효과가 꽤 좋았어. 너도
Oops.
몬드를 여행하다 어느 음유 시인을 만났어.
Oh my god, she knows Venti
악기
too.
연주하는 법을 가르쳐주고 같이 술을 마시자고 달래붙었지. 나는 어지러운 느낌엔 금방 적응하고 밤낮 없이 술을 아무리 마셔도 멀쩡했어. 근데 그 시인은 언제 취했는지 의자에 쓰러졌더라.
Wow,
그래서 어쩔 수 없이 내가 계산했어.
she outdrank Venti.
이곳에서 머리 위에 별 하늘을 바라본 게 한두 번이 아니야. 비록 가짜 하늘이지만 우주를 향한 창조자의 낭만과 환상이 느껴졌어.
Yeah, so the sky is fake. We knew that.
끝없이 펼쳐진 은하수와 은은한 달빛. 인간은 문자와 서적을 통해 역사의 한 귀퉁이를 영원히 보존하려 했는데 하늘의 주인도 어쩌면 같은 마음으로 우주의 한순간을 이곳에 담아 영원으로 만들고 싶었나 봐.
I wonder. I really do wonder if it's Kevin.
부모님이 계실 때 그분들한테 악기를 배우지
You're onto
않았지만
it.
아버지가 연주에선 몰입이 가장 중요하다고 했던 건 기억나. 티바트에 온 후 여러 악기를 구매해 연습해봤지만 몰입하기만 하면 힘 조절에 실패해서 악기를 많이 망가뜨렸어. 그래서 직접 재료를 모아 기억 속의 모습대로 더 튼튼한 악기를 만들어봤지. 너도 하나 줄게. 필요할 땐 무기로 사용할 수도 있어. 한가할 땐 이 세 개의 악기로 고향의 선율을 연주하곤 해. 세월이 지날수록 그 곡들이 내 머릿속에서 잊힐 줄 알았는데 아니었어. 마치 내 영혼에 새겨지기라도 한 것 같더라. 나무 기타가 울릴 때마다 여실히 깨닫게 돼. 이건 이 문명이 우주에 남긴 마지막 실마리라는 걸.
That's so sad. What's her favorite food?
사부를 따라 훈련하다 보면 늘 상처투성이가 되곤 했어.
She eats
그러면
bugs.
사부는 이름 모를 벌레를 잡아다가 구워서 먹게 하면서 이러면 몸이 더 빨리 회복된다고 했지. 동그란 벌레는 구워지면 금색빛을 발했는데 껍질이 바삭하고 육질은 향긋했어. 시간이 너무 많이 흘러서 어떤 맛이었는지는 기억나지 않지만 어릴 때 참 좋아했던 것 같아.
So she likes grilled bugs. All right. Cool. Protein.
맛있는 건 잘 먹고 형편없는 것도 삼킬 순 있어. 낭비만 안 하면 되는 거지. 이게 다인 건가? 이 정도 성장으로는 부족해. 힘이라. 언제였을까? 힘을 가지지도 추구하지도 않았던 때가. 하지만 이제 우리는 서로에게 달려가고 있어. 별바다는 끝없이 넓어. 그걸 목표로 삼으면 힘을 추구하는데 끝이 없지. 그래서 나는 끊임없이 나아가는 동시에 중간중간 목표를
Seems like the type of
설정해.
girl you can take to meet your
너와
parents.
함께 여행하는 동안
Seriously?
내 힘은 성장했고 최근에 목표를 달성했어. 이젠 네가 특훈할 차례야. 준비됐어?
Would you eat bugs with her, Kathy? All right. So who have we not looked at? Actually, a lot of people. Like, I haven't even looked at Sitlali's story. Well, let's look at Sitlali's story. I want to look at Anefa's, but I feel like I should save that. Yeah, let's look at Sitlali's. Okay. You've eaten snakes? Yeah, but snakes aren't bugs. I can understand eating snake. All right. Character details. Shamans are practitioners of a mysterious craft who originate from the Masters of the Nightwind. With many mystical abilities at their disposal, they are wise and powerful figures. In the eyes of the people of Natlan, whether one seeks medicine or wishes to decipher a cryptic prophecy, visiting a shaman is always the right choice. They can be both doctors and prophets, playing indispensable roles both in everyday life and in matters of far greater import. In short, theirs is a highly respected profession. Yet above the many shamans, there are great shamans in a league of their own. They say it is a title that only those who reach the very pinnacle of their mystical arts may earn. And indeed, throughout the entire history of Natlan, they have been few and far between. Their deeds shine forth like the brightest stars in the night sky, adding a touch of legend to the already unfathomable shamanistic mystique. Sitlali is one such great shaman, and the only one in Natlan today. Yet contrary to what most might expect, you will not find her dealing with everyday matters nor with major affairs, rarely even participating in events as significant as tribal ceremonies. For outsiders who seek the great shaman's assistance, navigating the many obstacles in their way may prove a greater challenge than traversing the many chasms of Natlan itself. Looking for Granny Ipsley? It's best not to disturb her. If you really must go, go prepared. And just so we're on the same page, don't go dragging me into it. Thus would most members of the Masters of the Night Wind respond, as if Sitlali were some formidable fiend, a monster of great menace and untold might. The great shaman, wahaha, she's your only option, isn't she? The almighty Dragon Lord doesn't have time for puny punks like you, but since you asked so nicely, I'll let you use my name when you knock. That way, she's bound to take your request seriously. A certain oddball entity and self-styled Dragon Lord might respond as such, as if Sitlali were some easily dealt with triviality. Need Granny's help? You're looking for the right person. If so, she knows everything about everything. Do you have her address? Actually, let me take you there myself. Oh, just so you know, when we get there, you'll have to keep knocking nonstop. Granny's kinda shy, so you have to be proactive, alright? This is the kind of response you receive from a certain top-ranking guide from the people of the Springs, as if Sitlali were no more than a bashful young girl. Seeking help from Sitlali? A wise choice indeed. Her assistance has been instrumental in the success of many of Natlan's most important affairs. I'm confident she'll know how to resolve your troubles too. The great leader, the keeper of the sacred flame herself, might say this, as if Sitlali were the very epitome of a responsible and approachable elder. Ultimately, after much inquiry, those seeking her aid often end up feeling more confused than when they first set out, left with no other choice but to give up their petition as a lost cause. The first meat you ate was hedgehog. Oh no, I hope it wasn't a pet. Okay, character story 1. Sitlali's home lies at some considerable distance from the tribal settlement. Tucked away in a secluded corner of the mountains, you might call it the perfect retreat for solitary living. But in stark contrast to the way the homes of the average recluse might blend into their natural surroundings, a remote dwelling is conspicuous, so much so, in fact, that it is practically unmissable. The main reason for this, no doubt, is the graffiti that covers its outer walls. Bold, over the top, and provocative, it seems to have been deliberately designed to get on someone's nerves. To understand this, one must note a rather odd tradition that has become prevalent among the Masters of the Nightwind shamans. They will often strive to seek out particularly strong peers among their circle, then orchestrate coincidences by which their own students end up clashing with these powerful shamans. And then by utilizing the pressure exerted by these formidable figures, they push their student to improve. Perhaps it is precisely because of the familial character of the bond between master and disciple shamans that, to bypass their own subconscious, almost parental tenderness, they must rely upon a stern uncle or aunt figure to carry out the tough tests required. Many years ago, another great shaman named Huitzilin, oh my god. I'm so bad at these names, I just feel bad. Chose Lolly to be the target of such conflicts for her own students. How did she achieve this, you might ask? By having them plaster the outer walls of Lolly's home with taunting graffiti, a direct and unignorable challenge if ever there was one. For her part, Lolly performed her role of encouraging the younger generations to improve with flying colors. Not a single one of those bumptious, presumptuous, self-important novices puffed up by having a great shaman as their mentor withstood more than a single meeting with her as their adversary. They were, to the last, left humbled and respectful, viewing shamanhood with a newfound reverence. After Huitzilin's passing, her disciples, and even the disciples of her disciples, continued to designate Sitlali as the target for their students to challenge, claiming that this was her dying wish. Though this practice strayed somewhat from tradition, most Masters of the Night Wind were unsurprised. Huitzilin had been a great shaman on par with Sitlali, and was said to understand and admire Sitlali's strength better than anyone. To Huitzilin, only those who bold enough to challenge Sitlali were worthy of inheriting her legacy. And indeed, the challenges yielded remarkable results. Those brave enough to face Sitlali often went on to make exceptional achievements, whether holding key positions within the tribe or attaining a profound mastery of the mystic arts. Over time, challenging Sitlali through the medium of graffiti became a tradition of its own. This tradition, though, has been the source of no small amount of grief for Huitzilin's own shamanic descendants. Starting right from their days as apprentices, they must endure defeat after crushing defeat at Sitlali's hands. Eventually, they had no choice but to modify Huitzilin's challenge criteria, making it enough to simply last long enough against her. All manner of stories began to spread about Granny Itzli, fueled by the sorry experiences of all those challengers who fell short. Whenever a challenger fails, Lolly uses her mystical abilities to erase their graffiti. Thus, over the years, the graffiti on the wall has changed time and time again. As time went on, Lolly's initial irritation dulled. Given her power and status, she could easily have put an end to this annoying practice, yet instead she allowed it to continue. As for her reasons, some would argue that Lolly uses these failed challengers as a means of enhancing her own reputation, while others believe that, despite her general aloofness, the great shaman still retains a sense of responsibility for nurturing future generations, even if just a sliver. Perhaps only Lolly herself knows the real reason, that it reminds her of that precious time spent sparring with an old rival. As long as that ever-changing graffiti continues to appear on her wall, she can keep pretending that those days never truly passed. Oh, they're making me sad again. It was wild, hunted by your father's friend. Okay. I'm glad it wasn't a pet. Character story 2. If you were to ask someone what Lolly's favorite hobby was, no matter if they knew her well, feared her, or even just heard a rumor about her for the first time, you would get the same answer. Light novels. Almost everyone's first encounter with her involves seeing her engrossed in one of those books. But if you were then to follow up and ask which light novel was her favorite, well, there's something even those who knew her best would struggle to agree upon. Some are convinced that it is Mirage Warriors, the light novel she most frequently discusses, and perhaps the first one she ever read. Rumor has it that this early classic switched authors 3 times, yet despite this, was never actually brought to completion. Most of its original readers have in fact already passed away. The last one left being Lolly herself, still alive and holding out for updates after 2 full centuries. Jesus Christ, girl! Imagine waiting 200 years for an update on your favorite fanfic. You know? Such a book, they say, must hold a special meaning in the context of Lolly's long life, making it the strongest contender for her favorite. Others claim it must be the popular favorite, A Legend of Sword, widely known even throughout Natlan. Is that Xingqiu's book? Yet when others bring up this work, Lolly often seems displeased, not because of any issue with the story itself, but because of her lingering resentment over that one time when they decided not to hold a signing event in Natlan. Then there are the heated debates between the advocates of Shogun Almighty, reborn as Raiden with unlimited power, and Pretty Please Kitsune Guji. One school of thought believes the former is her favorite, pointing out to the time she discovered her copy of Raiden Reincarnation was not actually a first edition, flying into such a rage that she nearly scared the book merchant to death. The other side argues for the latter, recounting how ruthlessly Lolly crushed a certain group of challengers whose sudden appearance had caused her to miss out on getting her hands on the deluxe edition of Kitsune Guji. Lolly herself has never given a straightforward answer to the question, leaving the matter unresolved. However, a particularly bold specimen of a prying busybody once claimed to have discovered a secret compartment in her bookshelf, well concealed and even protected by several layers of special mystical seals. Without a shadow of a doubt, the ironclad repository of her most treasured light novel. Lolly, oh, who is this? Still waiting for her master on Saturday. Dude, because this month, August had 31 days, the wait between the 28th until the 8th feels like forever. Right? So I am in pain. Because, yeah, it won't be the 8th until Monday. Lolly quickly deduced that this individual must have been a petty thief who had once broken into her home. After tracking down the intruder and personally administering a thorough thrashing, she handed them over to the tribal guards. From that moment on, the mystical defenses around her home gained yet another layer of protection. Still, she never outright denied the pesky little pilferer's claim, because, as it just so happens, there is indeed a secret compartment in her bookshelf. The book stored within it is neither one of the bestsellers nor a rare out-of-print collector's edition. Instead, it is an obscure and unsung light novel, barely known even in its homeland of Inazuma, New Chronicles of the Six Kitsune. What do you think that's a play off of? So is this Lolly's favorite light novel? It's very hard to say. Perhaps, just perhaps, her reason for storing it there had something to do with the first sentence she read when she opened it. Stories relating to memory always seem to have something to do with those moments where you gain something and lose it straight away. Ooh, deep. Character story 3. Whenever Lolly's friends make plans to celebrate her birthday, they always run up against a rather tricky question. Just how old is she exactly? No. Judging from her appearance, there's no way to tell. According to Lolly's own oft-repeated claim, the answer seems to be 200. However, some elders of the Masters of the Night Wind insist that she must be older, for she has an intimate knowledge of many things that happened over 2 centuries ago. Do you think Granny was born or adopted by Saurians when she was young too? Chaska would wonder, drawing a parallel with her own childhood experience of being raised by a Kukusaur and losing track of her real age. Granny will always be Granny, and that's not going to change, whether she's 200 or more. Aw, I knew that would be Odoron. Odoron would respond when people came asking. Having been raised by Lolly since childhood, his awareness of her ageless aura is perhaps keener than any other's. But Shalonen was never satisfied with that answer. After all, if they were planning on ordering a personalized birthday cake, a vague number would only confuse the baker. In her view, clarifying your requirements is the most basic courtesy a customer owes. If a mere 200 years has you all running around like headless flow-current birds, imagine if you could comprehend the unfathomable antiquity of this almighty dragon. Before he could finish, Ahao's comments were cut short by Kinich, whose lightning-fast elbow sent the little party pooper flying. Why don't we just settle for 200? Seeing as Granny's always insisting that's how old she is, I'm sure she has her reasons. Just like how many times people say they're forever 18. It's a way of making themselves seem younger. Despite leaving them all deep in thought for a while, Milani's suggestion was collectively rejected in the end. No matter how you spin it, forever 200 is an absurd way of projecting a youthful image. Oh my god, this is so silly. Wait, that is Petal? What is me? Wait, what is me? What? When all others had given up, the ever-resourceful Yansan called upon Mavika, hoping that the memories passed down by the sacred flame might offer some clues. Forever 200? Is that me? Is that what you're saying? Sorry. But even Mavika could not provide a definitive answer. So far, as past Archons remembered, Lolly had always lived the life of a recluse, leaving no indication of her exact age. And so they continued to hesitate, knowing that asking Lolly directly was simply out of the question. Oh, you tell your students you're 72. Yeah, 76. Yeah, that's true. That's true. The quick-witted great shaman would see right through them, completely ruining their celebratory surprise in an instant. In the end, they decided to sidestep the issue altogether, settling on a cake design that didn't require her age to be displayed. On the evening of her birthday, they lured Lolly out of her home with a knock at the door, unveiling the cake and an array of gifts as she stepped outside. At last, their long-planned celebration was successfully underway. Perhaps moved by their enthusiasm, Lolly drank a lot that night. As her eyes began to grow hazy, someone finally worked up the courage to ask the question that had been puzzling them all along. How old am I exactly? Let me tell you something funny, Lolly began, slurring her words. I'm certainly not the only one in this world who's lived a long, long life. For the others, it usually goes like this. In the beginning, keeping track of the years is easy, but the longer they live, the more of a hassle it becomes. So they just stop paying attention. But me, well, I'm a little different, you see. At first, I never used to worry exactly how old I was. It was only after something happened that I suddenly started noticing how old I was becoming. And from that moment, I started counting. And it's been exactly 200 years. The mystery behind the 200 years claim had finally been solved, but her answer had sparked a few questions. What could possibly have happened to make Sitlali, who had remained so youthful over the past 2 centuries and longer, suddenly become so acutely aware of the passing of time? But despite their curiosity, no one pressed her any further, for they noticed that Sitlali was staring blankly at the night sky, a sign that she had already fallen asleep. Oh, God. Wow, so she's exactly 200 years old. Okay. Character story 4. As a young lady, Huitzlin had been Sitlali's peer during their training, always accompanied by her trusty Iktomisar companion, Claw. Whenever Huitzlin struck a battle pose, Claw would leap up and down beside her in a combined show of strength. So you're that so-called genius the elders are always talking about. Let's settle who's the strongest once and for all. Are you out of your mind? As abruptly as it started, their first clash ended with Huitzlin's crushing defeat. Though, as it turned out, that was only the beginning. Every so often, Huitzlin would show up again at Sitlali's doorstep with Claw in tow. The first few times, all she brought with her were fiery letters of challenge. But not long after, she started bringing snacks too. Eventually, she even brought along wine, stolen from the adults. Whether it was the fine wine that swayed her, or even simply that she had resigned herself to the inevitability of Huitzlin's persistence, Sitlali stopped resisting her visits. And just like that, 20 years flew by, until one day, for the first time ever, the fight ended in a draw. That was the night that Sitlali finally accepted Huitzlin's invitation to share wine and snacks under the moonlight. To think that the two of us would become great shamans on the very same day, seems like we truly are equals in that regard after all. A hard-won draw is not a bad result, you know. Surely as my rival, you're finally satisfied now. Maybe you'll even stop pestering me. What? No, I'll keep coming over, of course. Besides, even if we're no longer rivals, we've been friends for 20 years now, haven't we? As the slightly tipsy Sitlali gazed over at Huitzlin in the dim moonlight, something suddenly struck her. That reckless young lass from 2 decades past had already blossomed into a poised great shaman. Little Claw had matured too, now an imposing adult Iktomisor, standing a head taller than the two of them. Yeah, friends for 20 years. All of a sudden, Sitlali's mind was aflood with memories, details that had been obscured by time's rapid flow. She felt the warmth of their bond, but also an inexplicable sense of foreboding. Another 20 years flew by in the blink of an eye. One day, halfway through cleaning away the graffiti of yet another challenger she had effortlessly defeated, Sitlali was interrupted by the sound of familiar footsteps. Hey, old friend, it's been a while since you last asked me out for a drink. You're not mad at me, are you? If a fight's what you're after, why don't you just drop by yourself? Why'd you keep sending those hopeless fools to pester me, huh? Well, because I've reached the age where I have to start taking on students too, you know. Ollie turned around as though suddenly realizing something she hadn't before. Her friend, who hadn't seen her for quite some time now, bore quite a few wrinkles, no longer the radiant youth she once was. Seeming to sense the complex emotions in Ollie's gaze, Huitzlin tried to lighten the mood, pointing to a nearby field in full bloom. No matter how beautiful Notland's wildflowers are, they always wither when the dry season comes around. But that never worries us, because we know that the year after, the field will bloom once more, right? But the flowers we see now, not one of them will feel the warmth of the sunlight that shines down on next year's field. In the end, nothing gold can stay, can it? I'm sure some hues will hold, my dear friend. Let me think it over. I'll give you your answer soon enough. Hitzen tried in vain to soothe Sitlali's apparent unease, for the latter had finally realized from whence her sense of impending crisis came. Sitlali stayed wide awake that whole night, watching as the portentous meteors streaked across the skies above. Just as leaf subsides to leaf, so too do we. By the time the next 20-year anniversary of their friendship came around, Huitzlin was gone. Stop. Forever 200, yeah. Many years later, as Sitlali once again scrubbed graffiti from her wall, she thought back once upon that afternoon when a girl and her young Iktomisars had come to challenge her. Countless memories surged back like a tide, vivid as if those moments had occurred just yesterday. Yet just as quickly were they carried away again, scattered by the wind into the distant past. With long years passing, even those emotions that Huitzlin had once failed to calm had by now been diluted, leaving only quiet sighs in their stead. You never gave me that answer in the end, Sitlali murmured. Yet despite the implications of her words, Sitlali had no intention of blaming Huitzlin, for she believed it was a question without answer. After a few cycles of blooming and wilting, the flower she remembered so vividly was now long gone, buried by the sands of time, as even the brightest of flowers would be. Dude, please. Aoife is another story that we need to read, but might save Aoife and enough of her next time then. Character story 5. We are like birds, soaring through the horizons of time. I linger between brushes of memory, seeking the color of my final journey. Each time Sitlali weaves a special scroll to record a significant event, she thinks back upon this phrase of Huitzlin. It was the first thing that Huitzlin had said as she taught her the mystic art of weaving such scrolls. Thus did she lead Sitlali into a vivid realm of recollection, showing her how to craft sprawling works like a master painter, except with a palette not of paints, but of memories instead. After learning this technique, Sitlali followed Huitzilin's example, adorning the record of a grand victory with a torch of fiery orange from a warrior's torches, or honoring fallen heroes with a hint of pale violet from flowers laid before a grave. So were these chronicles woven into being, scroll after scroll, ensuring that the Masters of the Night Wind's traditions would endure. Lolly had long understood the burden and responsibility that inheriting this mystic art entailed, so when she was approached by the golden-haired traveler, she knew she could not refuse the request. This time, she chose the traveler's gold to represent the light by which the abyss was illuminated, as well as the final full stop by which this great war was ended. Meticulously, she dyed the entire scroll, the memories it contained seeming to come alive in her hands. That way, they're not lost to piles of black and white text. Hearing the traveler by her side speak these words, Sitlali suddenly felt an emotion long since diluted by time well up inside her again. Remembering Huitzilin's words once more, she realized that her old friend had indeed kept her promise. When the flowers wither, when the dry season comes, and all is buried by the dunes of time, what then shall remain? Color of memories. What? This was the answer that Huitzilin had given all those years ago. Even though I know this from the quest that we did, I'm still so touched. This was a really good quest. Like, I'm suddenly remembering how good the story was for understanding Sitlali better. It was also the one that Sitlali was now able to give the traveler in response to their question. She knew that it would bind her to another promise that would only be fulfilled after facing many more long years. Yet this time, she felt far more resolute. Presenting the traveler with a token she had prepared long ago, for the first time ever, Sitlali spoke aloud the wish she hoped to fulfill over the course of her long life. I hope that my colors may abide in your memory always. Titi Mime. Okay, what is this? Okay, the first is Sitlalin, baleful star of the north. The second is Its Papa, malefic omen of the south. Whenever someone mentions the two dolls that Sitlali keeps by her side, which she refers to as her Tsitsimime, oh, that's what she calls them, the Master of the Night Wind often respond with these words as a warning, the intention being to silence loose tongues, lest they bring down a terrible curse upon themselves. If the rumors are to be believed, these dolls house the conscious wills of some ilk of malevolent demon, subduable only by the wrath of Granny Itzli herself. As such, their names have been synonymous with Granny Itzli's own, invocable as some sort of incantation to stop a toddler's tantrum in its otherwise unstoppable tracks. However, anyone who has had the opportunity to observe these two dolls up close would find them far less intimidating than the stories might suggest. In manner and appearance, they come across more like cute little animals than fearsome demons. Though Sitlali does indeed frequently hurl them at her enemies in combat, the fear instilled by this particular tactic pales in comparison to the terror she inspires with her own two fists. And though it is true that within these dolls is sealed the dreadful power of inauspicious stars, this has absolutely nothing to do with their consciousness. Sitlali crafted the Tsitsimima using the bones of small animals that had died of natural causes. The lingering remnants of their spirits were awakened by the dolls' bodies, which is what bestowed consciousness upon them. As such, this pair of clingy little critters bring with them no curses whatsoever. On the contrary, they bring emotional comfort in spades, akin to the kind one might find in a pet. Yeah, I was gonna say, basically her dolls are just pets. They're animals. Oh my gosh. Funnily enough, Sitlali very rarely lets anyone know this. Though, given that she uses them as weapons, it's probably for the best that they seem a bit on the scarier side. Alright, vision. Okay, how'd she get a vision? Even after becoming a great shaman, Sitlali has still never received an ancient name. Though it was undeniable that she had become a veritable pillar of the Masters of the Night Wind, and that her assistance was indispensable for the successful undertaking of many of Natlan's most important affairs, no hero's name came to resonate with her. People felt that this was a great shame, but there was nothing they could do for her. After reaching the age of 70, Sitlali grew reluctant to leave her home, seeming to have lost all passion for the world and only attending to matters in which her direct involvement was absolutely and unequivocally required. Naturally, such an air of detached indifference did not win her the favor of any heroic spirits. However, in places most people were not even aware of, Sitlali retained a great enthusiasm for one thing, weaving the special scrolls upon which major historical events were recorded. Each of these scrolls required decades to complete, an entire generation swept away by the time they were done. Yet always she persisted, maybe because it was her old friend's last wish, or maybe because doing so allowed her to avoid the company of others. She neither expected to see this task through to its end, nor did she seek any response to her efforts. Just a way to pass the time, she told herself. And that was why, on the night, a certain ancestor called out to her from the night wind's mist-shrouded hues. Sitlali was rather stumped. Do you believe I will still inherit your ancient name? Sooner or later you will indeed. You just do not know the reason why. But first, please accept my message. When the time comes, it will hold the answer to your doubts. Oh. Oh, giving her an ancient name. Okay. Think she did get one, but gave it to Oreo because she didn't want to go. No. I don't think that. I think you're misunderstanding the ancient name thing. There are multiple ancient names. It's not only the warriors who like were the chosen like final, team that are gifted ancient names, because even our traveler has an ancient name that doesn't correspond with any of the six like warriors that were intended to go to the final fight. So I don't think they're talking about like, oh, she got an ancient name and gave it to Odoron. One, because you can't really do that. But two, like it doesn't make like it's not necessary, right? It had to be like that specific name, and he definitely received that specific name. We also saw him like resonate with it, like and receive it. So it wasn't as if it wasn't as if like we saw like her get one and then pass it on. Like we saw him get it. I think Happy just doesn't remember the quest. But yeah, we have a different one here. So the colors of the night wind shifted, communicating in a language that only Sitlali could decipher. We are like birds soaring through the horizons of time. I linger in verdant forests, skim across azure waves, soar over fiery magma, gather golden ore, and chase after pink-plumed flower feathers. When twilight falls, my graffiti adorns the night sky. All that I depict shall be gifts, given to the world of the deceased. This was once my name, and it will be yours as well. Ukumbuko. Murray. Oh, that's what her ancient name means. Oh, that's cool. With the message complete, the night wind that was shrouded in mist drifted toward the scroll that Sitlali had finished dyeing, transforming into mysterious iridescence that illuminated the entire scene. As she gazed upon the woven scroll, Sitlali suddenly recalled once more the night her old friend passed away. The mission she left me, it was once yours too, was it not? It was indeed, but for you, it seemed to be more than just a mission. Following a trail of shimmering colors, Sitlali opened up her hand. As if from nowhere, a glimmering vision had somehow appeared in her palm. It appears to be your wish as well. Dang. Alright, let's look at voice lines. Although probably I have heard these already. I can't believe that's her voice line about Ororon. I'm gonna play it one more time, you guys. Wow. Ah. Spoken like a... That's so funny. Okay.
가면을 쓴 전사는 영웅, 자연 또는 신의 화신으로 여겨져. 연사에 대해서는 아는 게 별로 없어. 근데
Hang on.
야 키니치 옆에 있는 애는 좀 짜증나던데. 걔도 네 친구야? 그럼 다른 기억을 떠올려 볼게. 아, 키니치 본인은 꽤 믿음직해.
Your job is turning off the water to do some maintenance and you gotta use the porta-john. Got you fucked. Oh no, that sucks. Yeah, ew. Nobody likes those. This is so funny. I'm just gonna play it one more time. Okay, so I'm going through Sitlali's story. Very moving, very touching. And then we're now listening to her voice lines. This is her voice line about Ororon. Wow. That's hilarious. I love that that's it. That's her voice line. Favorite food?
난 미디엄 레어로 익힌 고기가 좋아.
Meat.
제사 음식 본연의 맛에 더 가깝달까. 그 다음으론 한 손에 들고 먹으면서 다른 한 손으론 소설을 볼 수 있을 만큼 편한 음식이 좋아. 신맛
Doesn't
나는
like sour
음식은
foods. Okay.
이해가 잘 안 돼.
Yeah. Okay. So next time we'll do Ifa and Anefa. I am curious about theirs. Who else haven't I read? I think I've read most people's, to be honest. Like, definitely the ones I care about. Oh, right. There's something else. I wanted to see characters' voice lines about Dahlia. So let's see. Who might have a voice line about Dahlia? He doesn't. Bennett will? No. Venti.
여행자, 바람의 소리를 듣고 바람의 인도를 받고 싶어? 그럼 그 부제를 찾아가면 될 거야. 농담이고, 넌 언제든지 나와 술 한잔하면서 이야기를 나눌 수 있어. 내가 평소에 왜 달리아를 통해 소식을 전하는지는 너도 알지? 달리아는 시끄러운 바람을 쫓는데 열중하면서도 결코 자신의 방향을 잃지 않으니까 말이야.
Oh. He doesn't lose his way. He's a good kid. I wonder if... Wow, Jean has a lot of voice lines about characters. But she doesn't have one about him.
대단장께서 미카를 원정대 사전정찰의 핵심 대원으로 뽑으신 이유는 임무에 필요해서 그런 것도 있지만 근면성실한 그의 성격을 좋게 보셨기 때문이지.
I love how...
개인적으로 나도 그런 동료와 함께 일할 수 있어서 영광이야.
I love how so many people are, like, so nice about like, or so, like, sorry, they respect Mika so much, but he just doesn't have any sense of that for himself. All right, let's see who else might have voice line about Dahlia. Maybe Noelle? Nope. He's got a voice line about Fischl. I don't think he would. Yeah, he doesn't. Let's see. I doubt Razor would. Razor does not seem like the type to go to church service. Albedo? No? I mean, I can't imagine. Yeah, I don't think. It'd be nice if he had one after this, though, you know? Like, after the quest. Eula does not, I think. Oh, Rosaria might, actually. Wait, hang on. She's got two about,
미카가 유격대에 처음 왔을 땐 그 전에 있던 몇몇 사람들처럼 얼마 못 버티고 나갈 줄 알았어. 그런데 묵묵히 버티면서 임무를 아주 훌륭하게 완수했지. 게다가 자진해서 심부름 같은 잡일까지
Razor is a good boy. It's his birthday soon.
나와
His
다른
birthday's
사람들
Tuesday.
소통하는 것도 도와줬어.
Yeah, I'll definitely be checking Barbara.
자꾸 날
I'm going in
챙겨주려
order,
하다니.
so...
대체 누굴 보고 배운 건지. 미카가 원정대에서 돌아왔어. 성격은 그대로인데 전보다 많이 강해졌더라고. 대단장이 단원들 훈련을 소홀히 하지 않은 모양이야. 응? 미카 본인은 모르는 것 같다고? 그야 워낙 둔하니까. 아니면 겸손하다고 하는 게 맞나? 내 대원이니 그런 건 딱 봐도 알 수 있거든.
I love her. Sometimes I'm so fond of Eula that I think about, like, you know, using her again. And that's why she suddenly has a build. Okay. Okay, so let me see. I'm pretty sure Rosaria would, so I'm gonna look at Rosaria's too. So we're gonna look at Rosaria and Barbara for sure, but I'm going in order of characters who are built, and so it'll take a bit. Just going through Mondstadt characters. I used to know, like, everybody's story, but it's been a while. Oh, yep, here we go. Let's see.
나서서 한턱 내는 습관이 있는 훌륭한 친구지. 게다가 술자리에서도 정도를 알아. 뭘 물어봐야 할지, 뭘 물어보면 안 될지 잘 알고 있지. 서로의 패를 잘 아니까 과하게 경계할 필요도 없고 똑똑한 사람과 사귀는 건 언제나 즐겁다니까.
She does seem to get along with him really well. Wow, it's not one-sided. Is Diona? No, I just haven't read a lot about Diona. Heya. Heya might. Because they do drink together. Yeah, he's got a line.
평소에 성당의 포도주를 자주 마시는가 봐. 주량이 굉장하더라고. 전에 술 마시기 대회에서 내가 지면서 알게 된 사이거든. 바람씨는 술을 사랑하고 그의 대행자도 부지런히 술의 매력을 전파하고 있으니 이게 바로 자유의 도시의 낭만 아니겠어?
Ah, the romance, he says, of the City of Freedom. Okay, Barbara?
달리아는 아주 믿음직한 선배예요. 그가 전하는 신탁은 항상 모두에게 큰 도움이 되죠. 하지만 달리아는 성당에 있길 싫어해서 시장이나 술집같이 사람이 많은 곳에 가곤 해요. 어쩔 땐 찾고 싶어도 못 찾을 때가 있죠. 꼭 로자리아 소녀님 같달까요?
Hello, Finn. How are you doing? Got back from your walk? How is it these days? Does it feel nicer to be able to go on walks with your new friend? I find it's like helpful in general to get out, but I know it's difficult. I take walks regularly so that I can avoid being too stressed out. Work. I gotta do Imaginarium Theater, but I think saving that for Friday, during Friendship Friday. But yeah, that was nice. I'm working on giving Tinari a different build, but I don't know, because my original build for Tinari is pretty good, so we might go back to that. But I thought I would throw some random shit on him and see like what happens, right? So right now, this is more of an EM build because I'm hoping to give him actually a different weapon. So actually, let's take a look. Oh, have I done? Oh, I haven't done this. Okay. I think I only learned about this yesterday, so we should probably do this today. Because I do need these materials, right? Because of all the characters that are coming, so I only found out about this from what's it called? Like I was on Paymon.moe and they have the calendar. Oh, yeah, my Tinari has dropped down to 36%. Okay, we're giving him back his original build. This is the bad build. This build is really more for, like, I'm gonna try to get him Hunter's Path. Like his weapon. Since the Sumeru Chronicled Wish is coming around earlier than I expected. Right? So... But yeah, it looks like this is a better build for him. Makes sense though, the crit on these pieces is way better. It's enough for me to star them compared to the crit and stuff on these other pieces that I just threw on him. But we'll leave it as an alternative build in case just in case, you know.
미리 준비해서 상대보다 먼저 공격하자.
More social too. She makes a lot of friends on walks. Oh yeah, that's good. You have more energy, so it's easier. That's good. I'm glad. Yeah, I do find like just going out as well, like getting air and also like physical exercise, like just has like generally good effects, you know, on your health, like mental and otherwise. But I know it's hard. Let's use me on team. I still can't find Anafa here, so I'm wondering if it's really more that, oh, it's the Anafa that you meet at the end of the quest. Because I think that's also around here.
자, 모두한테
조심해.
I hate doing that with my fragile resin, but this is necessary. Or more. Oh, I read that.
빗줄기를 그리기 어려운 법. 이 검을 알아보겠느냐?
나 대신 잘 불러.
즐거웠어.
So much colors. One more. And then bed. It's been a very, like, productive Genshin loring day, though, I suppose.
괜찮은 상대였으면 좋겠는데.
자, 모두한테 인사.
조심해. 가자.
Yay. Alright, we did it. I have 50 wishes and a dream. I hope we'll be able to get Flynn's. Alright, I'm gonna go to bed. Tired. I'll see you guys on Friday for Friendship Friday. We'll finish up What's His Face's story then too. What's his name? Zane's birthday story. Okay. So tired. Good night. See you on the Discord.